Honorable, just yesterday at the meeting, we saw President Muhammadu Buhari make the kind of a categorical statement that there must be fairness, that there must not be kind of imposition, if you will, within the party. Now, when you've touched a little bit on some of the crises in some of the chapters of the party, but let's be more specific. In Rivers State, there's an allegation that Senator Magnus Abe is making against the Minister of Transport, that essentially there is a potential for an imposition of delegates in terms of deciding who becomes candidates at various levels of the party within that state. In Kogi, you have, of course, the governor versus the senator and some other divisions there. In Kano, you have the current governor and the past governor. Now, in these situations now, it seems, in the view of some of your party officials, that the presidency and the national leadership of the party have already sided with one side over the other. Maybe Ganduje in Kano, maybe Amechi in Rivers, maybe the Governor Bello in Kogi. What are your thoughts on that? Is there a level of partiality in the handling of some of these issues, as alleged by Bola Tinubu?
Well, you see, that is why the leader, Bola Tinubu, is there. He will come out with his own report. But suffice to say that after every congresses, there is what we call appeal committee. And now that Mr. President has voiced it out, I am telling you, he wouldn't mind being in charge of that appeal. If any case has come to his attention, I am telling you, Mr. President will insist that justice has prevailed. So we have different stages. Yes, people can cook whatever. But if it comes to the limelight and it is the general acceptance of the majority of the people, I am telling you, Mr. President, being now the natural leader of the party, must insist that the needful and the rightful thing must be done.
People have accused the president of not showing leadership. I mean, it would seem that somehow he had avoided dealing with the party before now and left the party matters to, external forces. Do you think it's too late for him today to try and bring his party together?
It's not late, and that is why probably now he's setting up. You can see that his disposition now cannot be compared to when he started.
So you agree with people who say that he wasn't really playing the role of a party leader?
Yes, he was. Because even I can cite example when we were about to take up at the National Assembly, he hands up. Because the National Assembly at the commencement needs some direction.
So he shouldn't have?
He shouldn't have. He should have really taken charge. In the members of the National Assembly, he knew the people that have cultivated friendship together so that they know things that can ease him in trying to move the nation forward in point A to point B. So suffice to say that, Mr. President being a converted Democrat, he is still learning the act of democracy. And you cannot finish learning. Whatever you feel you know, a certain scenario will reveal itself. So I believe in the last 3 years that has been saddled being the president and leader of the party at the same time, he must have learned a lot of things that he is now trying to bring, because the mistakes you committed are what we call experience, not how successful you are. So he is now looking back so that you correct the present and the future. And that's what Mr. President is positioned to do now.
Well, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll ask whether or not that is really going to work. I mean, just a year to elections. In just a moment, please stay with us. Well, Honorable Yinusa Abubakar is still with us in the studio. Ajuri, you're going to ask a question?
That's right. Honorable, we've heard from the wife of the national leader of your party, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, and in her statement she said, and I quote, Buhari trashed the national leader, that he felt trashed by the president. And this is the person that is now heading, of course, this National Reconciliation Committee. I want to ask you, in view of the upcoming elections in Ekiti and Osun, which are, of course, in the stronghold of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, how might that process of throwing up the APC nominees in those states affect his commitment to the party and his ability to reconcile what has been, a pretty divided group?
You see, Ajuri, we were saying almost the same thing in politics. People are saying there are imposition of candidate. Whereas in those states you mentioned, those candidates that they have been perceived to have been preferred, the people don't want them. And you remember when the Ondo election comes up, there was a scenario, the Senator Adeleke's case, when his junior brother, the people says, look, we want him in APC. And people say, no, they impose a different person. And Adeleke's junior brother jumped to PDP. In fact, in the faction that you don't expect it to win, by then the Sheriff and the McCarthy faction were there. He clinched one of the faction and he got the mass vote and he is now in the Senate. So APC has learned a lesson, not to impose. So the so-called preferred candidate might eventually not be likened by the electorate. And that is why it is there. And I'm telling you that the leader, Bola Tinubu, have now come to terms with Mr. President. Just like the calling, please sheath your sword. You see, if there are process of reconciliation and they say, Yunus, please, we are begging you, have patience. Yes, they know that I have been offended. That is why the oath is on me to pipe down, pipe down.
Have you been offended too?
In APC?
Yes.
No.
Okay. You're just wondering then, how do you think that this is going to play out? Because people are wondering, there are too many factions, there are too many divisions, things that have been left to fester for way too long, and you're hoping that some magical wand will be able to reconcile everybody ahead of the elections. Do you really think that's possible?
Very possible. From yesterday, 2 days ago and yesterday, I'm telling you, the party works stronger. Take my word to the bank. Give it the next 2 weeks. All these squabbles must have been settled.
Some people will say that's the word of a politician, but then who am I? I'm just...
Let's watch.
I'm just a
I
journalist.
will still come back here. If he doesn't, he will invite
because
me.
you've talked about the Senate President not being there. The papers are reporting it. He was absent from APC's next meeting. You see, that they believe that that's also a major factor.
This is a sensational headline to sell their papers.
Yeah, but that's also because the President has not declared. Is the President going to contest in 2019? Does your party know that now?
No. He didn't declare. He said at an appropriate time he's going to address the caucus. And both the 2 days ago's caucus meeting and yesterday's next meeting, that issue didn't come up.
Shouldn't he be declaring by now if he's going to run?
No, I don't think it's too early. They say, I think that was the statement from the presidency that the president and his vice president, that is Buhari or Sibanjo, are not in a haste to make declaration. They are being concerned by governance.
That's the statement.
By
but I'm asking
by the
your
end
opinion.
of,
Honorable,
in my
I'm
own
asking,
opinion,
yeah, shouldn't they have declared?
are not supposed to have declared by now. Because the moment they declare, people will leave government business and clinch to politicking. Okay. Because there is a timetable for it until September when the primaries are going to be conducted. A month to that, he can sacrifice his intention.
Well, that's all we'll have to leave it. Thank you so much for coming on Sunrise Daily. Honorable Yinusa Abubakar is a member of the APC and also a member of the House of Representatives. Well, that's Sunrise today, this lovely Wednesday morning. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Maukwe Ogun Yusuf.
I'm Ajuri Ngelale.
Well, I'm Gimba Omar. I'm not left out of the discussion still. We'll see you tomorrow for another episode. Bye for now.